Alright guys, so I know you're excited to get to the review of Final Fantasy VII, but I have to say right now that the episode that we recorded was 3 hours long. We didn't want to have to give you guys too big of a file, first of all. Second of all, we only have 400 megabits of information that we are allowed to store on our media hosting account. So in order for you guys to have one episode a week, we actually split the episode into two. So this week, you're going to get the first half of the episode, and next week, you're going to get the second half of the Final Fantasy VII review episode. So enjoy part one, and enjoy part two when it comes.
From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy.
Alright, welcome to Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. This is the other Caleb Craig.
And this is the real Caleb Schweiss.
As opposed to the fake one.
Yes.
I am Joseph DeGolier, and today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, finally.
Yes! But before we get to that, before we even get to Final Fantasy VII, we got some new iTunes reviews this week.
Things we must do.
Yes, from some very, very nice folks who both gave us 5-star reviews. The first one is by OS-Lolly, and they say, "This has to be the best podcast that is all about Final Fantasy. Once you have the hosts make a sandwich that is canon to the Final Fantasy series, you know you're dealing with true fans of the series. These two are funny, and the effort they put into the podcast is overwhelming. Listen in, and you will be in for one wild ride."
Yeah.
I didn't know
With the
making
two
a
of us.
sandwich made you
Nice.
guys true fans.
Yeah, you know, I was a little worried about the sandwich, too. I was like, that seems like a stretch, but hey.
I couldn't think
It was a
of
delicious sandwich, though. I mean, like, no joke. I'll read the second one.
Their last comment is, "And I personally love their I personally love their swinging sexy fan fiction, but it's all opinion." That's what they say.
Oh, nice. Thank you. We're glad to see fans of that segment.
Well, go listen to
You
the
mean
other
the other podcast?
Go listen to the other podcast.
Yeah, it's now its own thing. All right, this one is by Light Sage 89, and it's titled "A Great FF Podcast." As someone who has been subscribed to most of the FF podcasts on iTunes, including accidentally subscribing to one that hadn't been updated in over a year,
I wonder if that's Fireside Chats or FXN.
either way.
Probably FXN.
Yeah, I can say that this is the best FF podcast on iTunes.
Damn
Now,
straight.
I listen exclusively to Ultima Final Fantasy podcasts for all my FF listening entertainment. Thank
Nice.
you. I especially enjoy listening to your reviews of all the FF games, and I wish you luck on your guys' journey to finish every FF game. A tall order, but I know that the hosts can do it. Well, thank you. And
we can do it.
in honor of your last episode, I'm going to try out the Tantalus steamed sandwich this weekend. So thanks for pointing out FF recipes. Anyway, keep up the good work. From one of your female listeners.
We have a female listener.
Yes.
Actually, I think we have 2 or 3.
At least,
We
yeah.
have 3, I think, that I know of.
Well, thank you,
I'm
ladies.
so surprised.
I think Lightsays is actually on the forums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she is too. Yeah, thank you, Light Sage. What's funny is that I will go on YouTube, and there's the analytics page on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And you can go and see, like, the percentages or where they are.
Yeah.
It is 100% male.
It is blue.
It's all Democrat, too. Yeah, just all blue. There's just no Republicans or females to be seen, which, is odd considering, what the red and the blue stand for over here. But that's just incredible. We have female listeners. They're probably on iTunes, though. They're not probably listening on YouTube.
Yeah, not very many.
Though
people
if
do.
they are, I guess YouTube just sucks and their analytics are just not
Accurate?
accurate.
Just all male.
Yep.
How piggish of them.
So, Caleb, you want to talk about Patreon?
Well, we ended up just setting one up anyway. I did.
Despite the fact that we said no last
Well,
week.
we didn't say no. We said we'd think about it. And I thought about it, and I said, yeah.
And you said, I'll go behind Joe's back and set up a Patreon.
I set
Yeah,
up...
he comes in and Caleb's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I set this up."
Yeah,
That's exactly that's what happened.
on his own computer, too.
That's true.
Double betrayal. But yeah, we've got some pretty cool little things we'll do for you on there. Go check it out. I don't have a special link or anything.
I think for $1 or more, you get a shout out.
Yeah, it's a shout out.
And then we have better things after that, like bumper stickers. We'll make you a T-shirt and
Sweet coffee mug.
Yep. And our first financial goal, if we can get $75 per month, not per episode, because we're not like that,
Yeah.
like some other Final Fantasy podcasts are.
Especially because we have mini-sodes, and that'd be brutal. Okay, we're like, almost done with the episode. Almost done with the game for the episode.
Thanks for the $65 for 10 minutes of entertainment.
It is raking it in, you know. That'd be a little sick.
We're doing it per month. Our first goal is $75 per month. I don't know how long it's going to take us for us to reach this goal. Once again, we still have a small audience, so give what you can. Give $1 a month. You know, I think we have an option to give 50 cents or 25 cents a month.
Yeah.
If you just kind of want to just give a little contribution, I mean, that can't hurt. That's like 4 cents an episode, right?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
But at $75 a month, we will put in a digital phone line, and we will take listener calls
Yeah, during
the show.
at least
Aw, man.
at least the question segment.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, who knows if it's a non-review week, we could talk about whatever we are talking about with you, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. So.
Exactly. So for more information on that, go to Patreon, search Ultima Final Fantasy, you'll find us, and then there should be a link on our website.
Yeah, and there's a really awesome goal. It's like 40 million or something like that, and it involves reconstructive surgery. And that one's pretty sweet. So
You should check it out.
yeah, it wasn't supposed
go
to
a few
be.
shy of it.
Yeah. It
Please.
wasn't supposed to be. That would be brutal, especially for me. Like that just sounds like
Especially
painful.
fuck you. I play guitar. I won't be able to play again.
Maybe they'll come out with like the Dave Mustaine hand, and you'll be able to the spider pick or spider crawl. down
How many
there.
of our listeners do you think actually know who Dave Mustaine is?
I think there's probably at least
5.
five.
Probably
or 10.
5.
You
I
think
mean,
so?
someone on the forum said they like thrash, so I assume they know who Dave Mustaine is. This is Dave Mustaine. It's thrash.
It's Dave. Yeah.
So one person at least knows.
He's one of the big 4. He's basically Megadeth.
Yeah, he is the only
Well, he is
true
Megadeth.
member that's still there.
Exactly.
So yeah, check Dave Mustaine out, and you'll understand a lot more.
Half of their jokes involve Dave Mustaine.
Yeah,
It's true. Yeah, he's an obsession of mine recently, I'd say. Especially his voice.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
really
It's
good.
incredible.
During the Vegas trip, that's like all Joe would do.
yeah, that was awesome.
Let's go to the casino. Check out the dancers. Bitch.
Yeah, so we decided to just negate the news segment this week because this is going to be an awesome episode, and there's no need for any of that news.
Right, it's gonna be Final Fantasy VII.
Plus, there's not really that. I don't remember there being that much news, really. That's like huge. Like, oh god, we got to talk about.
I didn't see anything, but you know,
You didn't look.
whatever there is, we'll talk about it next week.
Yep, just means extra for later.
Yep, that's what that means. So tune in next week for more news.
Yeah, it's
For
that
some
exciting.
news,
Shall we get to the grand discussion?
I guess.
Let's do it. All All right. So Final Fantasy VII was initially released on January 31st, 1997 in Japan, and of course September 7th, 1997 in the United States.
You know, you came over and we both played the game at the same time, right?
Okay.
And one of the things that I did to get into the mood of 1997 was I found a YouTube playlist of like the biggest hits from 96 and 97, and of course played those in the background while we were playing the Final Fantasy VII game, of course. What did you think about the music playing?
There were some pretty good ones.
There was a lot of great songs that I had forgotten about, like Boys to Men, or not Boys to Men, but like Boys to Men sounding stuff. Celine Dion and
yeah.
what's her name? Tony Braxton or something?
Yeah, Tony Braxton.
Yeah,
She's an attractive.
I fell in love with that woman. And I was like, oh, I've heard this song before. And then I, like, for 6 days after that, I listened to Unbreak My Heart over and over again.
Nice.
I'm obsessed with that song now, which is a little weird.
Now, it might seem blasphemous for us to be admitting to listening to other music while playing a Final Fantasy, but admittedly, I was playing Super Dunk for about an hour and a half at that point.
It's true, he was.
So I don't care, all right? You guys can bag on me all you want. I cannot do the Gold Saucer music for more than an hour.
All right, so besides 97, what else we got?
Well, it was the first in the series to use 3D computer graphics with fully rendered characters on pre-rendered backgrounds.
Dun dun dun.
Which,
Well, that's weird. I thought Final Fantasy VI was in 3D.
yeah, not really. So it was originally intended for
Mode
the
7.
Super NES,
On the maps.
and
right?
they also moved it to the N64, but then they realized, oh shit, the N64's cartridges are freaking tiny, so they decided to release it on the PlayStation.
I think the argument with that was like they could fit it into a high capacity Nintendo 64 cartridge, but it would make the game really expensive to produce, and the profit from it wouldn't be as great as if they put it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, well, it was already super expensive.
But it was also, I think it was one of the games that kind of made the PlayStation.
It was, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was one of the really big
I think it's
system
still.
sellers.
I think it's the second biggest game on the PlayStation
It's
Yeah.
up there.
after Gran Turismo.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gran
Correct?
Turismo was crazy.
I hope I'm right on that.
It's
I think you are.
it's very high.
I think
up
Gran
there.
Turismo came with PS1s at one point.
Yeah, some of those are like the ATV Off-Road Fury 2. It always pisses me off when I see that at the top of PS2 lists. I'm like, it came with every PS2. Of course it's going to have the most. That's
Wii
cheap.
Sports.
Yeah, like Wii Sports, Wii
Wii
Sports
Sports.
Resort.
Ridiculous.
All really big because of that.
Like, oh, 20 million.
Maybe they
copies.
bought it for the game.
Super Mario Land came with like
they
Super
did.
Mario World came with like every Super NES, so it's like really high up there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
It's nuts. So, the game was directed by Yoshinori Kitase, whom we recently did a spotlight on.
Right. If you haven't heard that, go listen to that.
It's a good one, and it was produced by the legendary Hironobu Sakaguchi.
He really is legend.
He is.
Even
Yeah.
though he's alive and working on games and
Lives in Hawaii.
And still
lives
good,
in Hawaii
from what I
and
heard.
does interviews and
This game was also Tetsuya Nomura's first game as character designer.
And what else do we know him from now? Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yep, Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts games. He's the head honcho in front of those.
Yeah, and he's been the lead art guy forever now.
Yeah, for
And
a
then-
lot of the Final Fantasy games.
And then, of course, Amano moved on to basically just do
logo
the,
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, logos, which are awesome. If you guys haven't seen the Heavens Ward one, it's freaking sweet.
Right, yeah. That's a good logo.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
We're going to be talking about logos in the question segment.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, it is the best-selling game.
The
Sorry. Retard moment. The best-selling Final Fantasy in the series at just over 10, it's like 10.5 million as of 2010.
Copies?
Yeah. 10.5 million copies sold.
It's like if it's dollars, they lost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. If it was dollars, that'd be brutal. And planning for the game began in 1994, actually. Like, basically right after the release of Final Fantasy VI. So, these guys, this isn't something new with the, like with 15, they've been planning it for,
So it was from 94 to 97, which was probably the longest development of a Final Fantasy up to that point.
True.
I think so, yeah.
But a lot of that was because the game's development was interrupted by big titles like Chrono Trigger and Parasite Eve. Once those kind of got a little more matured, they really started doing a lot of work on those. And part of that could be because of the decision to put it on the PlayStation, because they were working on putting it on Super NES, then the N64. So maybe it kind of took a little bit of a back seat because Chrono Trigger and Parasite Eve were big titles, and they're actually
Right.
good games. So initially, the budget for this game was supposed to be $30 million.
That's still a pretty big budget,
Yeah.
especially for a game in '97.
That's
I'm guessing it
expensive.
exceeded that.
It exceeded it by a lot. The actual production costs were $45 million, and marketing was another $100.
Oh,
So this thing.
Well,
was
that's a good thing it made its money.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think I remember reading that this was like gonna be. It's one of those moments in Square's history, like the first Final Fantasy, but the seventh Final Fantasy was an equally big moment because it could have made or broke the company just because of the disgusting cost behind it.
Yeah.
Somehow they were able to absorb Spirits Within, or at least Enix came in and absorbed Spirits Within when they, of course, bought Square Enix. But this is one of those games that's really pivotal for the company
Right, and thankfully
and for the series.
it went very well for them. I mean, obviously, at 10.5 million copies,
What were they when they came out? 50 or 60?
probably about $50.
$50. And in the 90s, how much were new games?
Maybe 40.
I think it might have been 40.
Okay.
But you think about it,
Still
that's-
making plenty of money.
Yeah,
It's a lot more than a movie ticket.
true. That end, you've got, now it's out on Steam. Who knows how many copies it sold on Steam?
Right.
They
So
haven't
they're
tracked
making
that.
digital money
Yeah.
and the PlayStation Network money that they made.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
making tons.
There's still plenty of copies of that game.
Yeah, and thank goodness, because it's enjoyable.
Is that all you got on the background?
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
I
much.
think we covered just about everything.
I think I remember they were doing. They had a. I think the reason why the game took a long time, besides what you said, is that I was watching a documentary behind Final Fantasy VII that they'd released in Japan, and they were talking about how it took them so long because they were messing with the technology, the 3D technology. They were one of the first game companies that was going to go in that direction, right, with the 3D
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
And so it took them a long time to develop that, and they did things like there's a famous Final Fantasy VI tech demo that they did, that it was Final Fantasy VI in 3D, and that was a big part of how they figured out how to do the look of Final Fantasy VII. So the fact that they're going into a whole nother dimension, which we can't even fathom, being how old we are,
Right.
going from a 2-dimensional only kind of thing into 3 dimensions, especially
Yeah.
for this company. I mean, that's an expensive and risky proposition, and going on a new system that hadn't been tested. Like the company Sony didn't have a game console that they were already big for,
Right.
so a lot of risk, but
That's
it paid
true.
off.
Yeah, it did. Unlike the next giant risk they took. It was much larger and failed much, much harder. Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure a lot of the high costs are attributed to that because it was the one title that the very first one they were working on for PlayStation with the 3D models. So I bet you a lot of that 45 million gets tied into that, just toying with the technology, which, that's great. They had 2 other games that came out after that are mainline Final Fantasy games, and then a shitload of spin-offs from PlayStation. I mean, you've got the Chocobo racing, the snowboarding game.
Yeah, the snowboarding one.
Air
that's really
gaze.
crappy.
All sorts of shit that they came out with. So it's a good place to test the waters for other titles that came out on the same system.
Okay, let's get to our review, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right.
So, what did you guys think of the story?
I'm sorry. Those are the words I usually say before we cut, so Caleb made a pause thinking that we were going to cut, and I'm sorry for not...
Ass.
Should we cut?
No, it's too late. We
All
can't
right,
fucking
let's
cut
go.
now.
Let's go to the story, shall we?
Let's do it for that.
All right, so, Caleb,
Yeah.
what did you think of the
Since
story?
you're here.
Since you're here.
Might as well say something.
Alright.
I really enjoyed the story.
Period. Let's move
Yeah,
on.
just we're good. I found there was a lot more cheese this time.
Now, what do you mean
involving-
cheese? When you say
Okay,
cheese, what do
when
you
I mean
mean?
cheese, I mean like parts that are kind of hard to take seriously, even though they're sort of trying to make it serious.
Such as?
Like there's a part where, at the very beginning, where Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett, and Biggs and Wedge and them are all like on the train.
Avalanche.
Yeah, well, Avalanche. Yeah, they're on the train at the very beginning, and Barrett says something about like not being able to get off the train, and then they reference it at the very end of the game, like right when they're gonna go fight Sephiroth, and they just barely get Cloud back from being in his retarded,
It's a
like Mako comatose state. And he's like, well, Barrett, it's like you told me. There ain't no getting off of this train.
And the cheesy part
Do you
about
think Cloud went back? Did he go with the accent too?
I think he did.
Well, Barrett, like you told me, there ain't no getting off of this train.
It just seemed really out of character for Cloud. He had just barely gotten out of his like a weird comatose state where like Tifa had just fucked with his mind. Pretty much, so it's like a weird thing for him to have just completely broken character. Oh my god, that fucking noise!
You're talking about Cloud in the
yes, when he's in the wheelchair. I don't know what that fucking noise is supposed to be, but
you know what? I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, the first time I played this game, this was cool, but the second time I'm like, where is that noise coming from? Is he on a super squeaky chair?
The wheelchair isn't moving, and he's just bobbing his head, and I think he's too retarded to even make noise. So I don't know where it's coming
Maybe that
from.
was him breathing. Maybe he's like snoring.
I was playing it on my computer, and like in the headphones, it was like really loud, and prominent, and just constant. And it's like, what the fuck is this? It was like the screaming of the planet too. It's like, "Nyah!" And I was like, oh my god, make it stop.
the planet's in pain.
I didn't want it to be in pain anymore. I wanted to save it for real because it was bugging the shit out of me.
Okay.
Planet's being too loud.
No.
Okay, so you're saying besides that you like the story.
Besides that, yes, I did enjoy the story.
Well, the funny part about there ain't no getting off of this train is
There ain't no getting off of this train.
when he says that, when he references it at the end of disc 2, like 6 other people say it out loud
Oh
too.
yeah, like they all say it
they
like
say
at the
it all
same
at
time,
one,
and I'm
right?
like, what?
You're like, why is this
They
a thing?
just know what he's gonna say. Yeah, they just know what he's gonna say, and he like completely breaks character
And then
for
the other characters that weren't around when he said that are like all super confused. They're probably like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, Vincent and Yuffie are like, what? And
I didn't notice who said it, so I don't know.
it
Does
was-
Yuffie say it?
It's
no,
only the ones
it
who
was
are-
Okay,
Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa. I think
It was a
said.
well thought out callback.
Yeah,
All right, so you enjoyed the story overall.
I did. Yeah, although,
Although you
It
want
was-
to push as many
it-
holes into it as you can.
well, I do enjoy doing that, but it was kind of weird that Sephiroth is like Zeromus from 4, where he can just like mind control pretty much everybody. Because you never really know if it's like him, like when you play the story. Because like when you're at the,
Well, that was part of the coolness.
well, yeah, like at
of
the
thing.
when you're at the Temple of the Ancients and stuff, he gets like stabbed by Sephiroth, and everybody's like super confused that he's even there, except for Cloud.
Well, like I talked to you about, I think that's supposed to be clones. That's supposed to be the failed experiments, the guys in the black.
Yeah.
Sephiroth is mind controlling them from afar, from his little Mako crystal thing in the northern cave,
Yeah.
and he's basically Zeromus, like you said. He's basically controlling these guys.
But it's not mindception.
not really.
No,
it's
not
just
really.
direct.
He's
mind
just
control.
like-
Yeah, it's just direct mind control.
It's controlling them
Once again,
through
another
the alien.
theme that we've seen through the previous Final Fantasies, that if me and you didn't play them in order, we wouldn't be noticing.
We had no idea. I would be super fucking confused about that. I'm like, how is he there and here?
Right. I was still confused about that this time around, and I had to ask you, and I'm like, dude, what's happening?
Well, yeah, I still think it's weird that he was like controlling other dudes through like the cells of some alien creature.
Because I realized they never actually see Sephiroth, except for that one time in the ship, but it's not really like, he's not physically there like he is when they're chasing after him in
At
other
first,
places.
I kind of thought it was like Cloud imagining things because like it never really said that the other characters like saw him. It was always Cloud just exclaiming that it was Sephiroth.
I'm sure there's some kind of explanation on like Wikipedia or something as
Probably.
to like what exactly happens. But that's kind of what's cool about Final Fantasy VII's story, is that there are some kind of things that you have to think about
Yeah.
And you might have to explore. It's not, it's not, the whole plot's not put out as like this
I also thought it
simple
was
thing
weird,
that
though,
you can
that, like,
just understand on a whim.
I thought it was weird, though, that, like, Sephiroth was also just, like, sitting there in that tree in the crystal when, like, Cloud killed him by throwing him into, like, the Mako stream. Like, and how would you even hand, like, Meteor through this crystal thing to him, and then he's able to grab it while he's also in a comatose state? It's sealed inside
it's
crystal.
It's absorbed into him, and it's clearly a Jello shot. A Sephiroth Jello shot.
Mako is just like...
Mako is Jello and vodka.
What flavor is that? What flavor is
God,
Mako?
I hope it is not butterscotch.
It's not going to be butterscotch.
Please, God, no more butterscotch Jello shots.
Well, not unless Scode was cooking that day. Oh, God, those were horrid. So...
Good. I love inside jokes on podcasts.
Yeah.
It's great for the audience, isn't it?
It is. They just love it.
Schweiss on the story.
Well, I thought the story was really good. Thus far in the series, we've had some decent stories with 4 on, and 6's I was really taken back with, as we discussed, but 7's was really good. And the reason why I think 7's is really good is there might be a little bit of cheese like there was in, like Caleb mentioned, and there has been in some other Final Fantasies in little doses. But I thought the there ain't no getting off of this train thing was hilarious just because Caleb had brought it up and he's like, God, this line.
I wouldn't have even noticed.
I probably would have noticed this time, but I didn't notice before. I remember them yelling
This
it all
is my
at one
third time
time
playing through this game. How about you guys?
Second.
But you never finished. You've just gotten to the end.
I totally finished.
I don't believe him.
I don't believe him either.
Which is madness because Sephiroth is a puss when you get to him.
I destroyed him.
Yeah, when you played it. So anyway,
I did play it. Douche.
Yeah, so I did notice some cheese, like we've discussed, but it's not that big of a deal. And one thing I really liked about this game is the main bad guy. I felt like Sephiroth.
In case you didn't know that.
Yeah, if you don't know that, you probably shouldn't be listening to the episode, but listen anyway. And
listen anyway. They're already like halfway through.
True. But Kefka was a great bad guy, and he was super evil. But I think Sephiroth is a lot deeper of a character. I feel like he's more fleshed out.
He's less mad.
He's more like confused, and that's why he's freaking out. And
I don't know.
Super Oedipus complex.
Seemed pretty crazy by the end of the game.
Sephiroth?
Yeah.
I don't know. He had
I feel like he didn't really have a purpose. Like near the end,
what
where
the
he was
problem
like,
is for him is that he doesn't know what that is.
Like, yeah,
that's his problem. That's why he's fucked up.
Well, he wanted to go to like another planet with Genova, but then he's just like, no, fuck it. I'm just gonna cast Meteor.
Well, he was gonna become the all-powerful being by absorbing all of the planet's energy to try to repair Meteor.
Is that what was going on?
That's why he was casting Meteor.
I thought he was just destroying the world because he hated it.
No, he's destroying the planet so that he could absorb all of the Mako or the planet's life force that will come and repair the planet.
Okay.
Because he was talking
I do remember that he wanted to absorb that.
He was talking about a giant wound to the planet.
Yeah,
and he was going to be at the center of it, and he was. He was in the northern crater. That's where it was going to hit.
And was him and Genova were going to take over the planet?
He was going to absorb all of the planet's energy and become an all-powerful being. I don't know what he was going to do after.
Okay.
That.
I think he was going to fuse with.
So the difference between Kefka and Sephiroth in this case then is that Kefka became the ultimate being, and
that's true.
Sephiroth
he achieved it.
Didn't achieve it.
Right, but Kefka didn't actually want to.
That's
Kefka,
not true.
Yeah, he totally wanted to be God.
No. When he got there,
he wanted
did.
to be all powerful.
No, he didn't know what he was doing when he was fucking with the stuff.
He figured it out while he was doing it, and he took that chance.
Yeah, but it's not the same though. Sephiroth actually had that goal when he went to there, but he failed. So I guess it's iffy. But they were both super easy to kill. So
Sephiroth also didn't he did burn an entire village down, but he didn't poison an entire village.
True. He at least
entire kingdom.
He at least went hardcore mode on it and went in and killed everybody like a boss instead of poisoning him like a chicken bastard.
Well, he did
But-
like stab Cloud like twice, and then Cloud killed him.
True.
This is like sad.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But yeah, I thought the story was great. I mean, the side stories with Zach and with Lucrezia that Joe finally saw.
Oh, finally, God, that was such a good scene.
It's good stuff. And yeah, I felt like the
Where
story
he like
of-
has to tell Lucrezia Sephiroth is dead.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's not.
Yeah.
That was such a good part. I'd never experienced that part before, and then I finally went in there.
What was the
and, like,
other
it's a
scene that you didn't-
5-second scene, but it's so damn good. I had never seen the Zack flashback with Cloud,
Yeah.
where he
that-
rescues him out of the...
where he rescues, and you see it, you don't just hear about it.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before, and I went out of my way to do that before doing this review, because I felt like that would give me the full story. And I got to tell you, it adds quite a bit to it.
I kind of wish they wouldn't have hidden scenes like that, and they should just place them somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
it makes
such
it
an
less...
important detail. It feels that should be there.
I also
Vincent makes sense not to be there because it's not a
I
permanent
feel like,
character that you
I feel like
need.
Vincent is more of a more important character with like the Lucrezia side story than Sid is in his entirety.
But yet they spend a lot more time on Sid.
They do spend so much time on Sid. They have
really
the thing
spent
where they go in
three
space.
scenes in the game on Sid, but
He has the biggest parts. They like go to get him. They have to
but they
fight
spend 2
Heidegger
on
and the
Vincent,
president,
so
and then they
I
like.
guess.
Oh, I like Sid more, so...
But Vincent has more of a story presence, so
That
he
one
kind
moment.
of makes him more important.
I don't know.
I'm agreeing with you, Caleb Craig, about Vincent being more interesting than Sid, but I certainly find the Sid stuff, I was still engrossed in it.
Really, the only true useless character is Yuffie.
No. Kate Sith. Kate
Kate
Sith.
Sith.
Kate Sith, well...
Kate Sith.
He adds nothing to the story.
Well, neither does Yuffie, and she's an optional character.
Yuffie adds stuff to the story.
If you
to
go
her
do
town.
the woofies, the
The Woofie.
Woofy, Wu-Tai stuff in Yuffie's town, of Wu-Tai, if you do that stuff, then it's, I don't know, it adds a little bit to her character.
Yeah, and the part where Kate Sith sacrifices himself, I saw somebody somewhere that was like, made them cry. I'm like, he's a fucking robot, man.
Yeah, and then
Be in
like 5
control.
seconds afterwards, they
That
like
wasn't a
have
listener
another
you
one.
heard say that, did it?
No, it wasn't. It was someone
Okay.
on the Final Fantasy VII novelization. He's like, brought out the feels or something like that. I'm like, he's a toy.
That's not crying. It brought out the feels because he suddenly felt connection with the character in some way.
It's a dude. I wonder if Reeve on the other end, when the building was like morphing into the bottom, if he was like,
Oh yeah, just like Randy on the World of Warcraft episode of South Park.
yeah. He was making death
It's like in the
sounds.
Best Spy, and he's like, "Ah!"
I bet you it was like that. But then he shows up like 5 seconds later.
It's
hey,
true.
I'm
How did
Kate
he
Sith
even
too.
send a second robot like that fast? Like, it's seriously 5 seconds after you see him die, you get out of there, and then he's like, oh, by the way, I'm here again.
He's stalking him. He's probably there the whole time. But no, yeah, I think Kate Sith was kind of useless. And someone brought this up in the forums. Yuffie and Vincent, they don't really play much a part in the story either.
No, they don't.
But
They-
the
Yeah,
reason-
they're
like,
optional characters.
they're not
even-
You
they're
don't
not
need to
even
get them
in
in order to
scenes,
finish the
yeah.
game.
They are optional characters, but I still feel like they should have fleshed them out a little bit more
Well,
to
they
make
did-
the option
they
of
did
getting
with
them
Vincent.
more worthwhile. Yeah, with that one scene, and then Yuffie with her hometown.
Well,
but
there's always stuff with the mansion in Nibelheim that you go down and get Vincent there anyway. It's more than just going into a random forest for Yuffie.
true, but you're pretty much gonna find Yuffie in the game.
Well, yeah.
There's like no chance, basically, of you not seeing her. At least I've never not found her.
Yeah, you just got to go into a forest.
I
at some
found her
point.
and then ignored her.
Me too. This time I almost did.
My
I was
speed
like,
run, I don't think she's in my party.
yeah. What about
Same with
Vincent?
Vincent. He's
Yeah,
not
well,
there.
the fucking safe battle is brutal.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he's sick.
Especially getting the safe.
Yeah, getting the safe open is like really irritating.
Especially on the PC, apparently.
On the PC with that controller, for some odd reason, that controller it wasn't as friendly to me about those numbers.
Yeah.
So like, because I don't know, it's a hard controller to push. Like there's a little bit more pressure on the sticks. This is a weird thing to say over air.
Just so you guys know, I have a Xbox controller that I use for my PC,
Right,
and that's what he's talking about.
I missed the DualShock, but I didn't really have a choice, and it was nice to have a controller as opposed to the keyboard.
Right. So that was a.
Thank you.
That was definitely a struggle. But yeah, I feel like the story was quite good in Final Fantasy VII. There's very few issues I have with it. One thing that kind of bugs me, and Caleb, you talked about this also.
Oh yeah.
Was the thing with Meteor and how he kind of.
Oh yeah, the cutscene of the meteor where it goes through every fucking planet and then kind of goes around, hits Mercury, and then like comes back to hit Earth and stuff.
I watched the cutscene again, and Craig initially was mad because it was showing Meteor coming down, but it isn't. It's showing
totally Meteor.
No. Meteor is like
He
just
casts Meteor. It is Meteor.
Meteor is the thing that he's casting on the whole planet.
yeah. Meteor is
It's
within
it's that big red force of death.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't cast that. He
That's
pulls
not what he's
something from the
casting.
depths of space. Meteor is right outside the
pulls-
atmosphere.
The
He
spell
pulls
is
out
called Meteor.
A
There's
meteor,
A meteor.
as opposed to meteor.
Yeah. Although
How
I do.
is that?
and-
How is that different?
And it's just an interesting animation.
Right.
It's not actually proof.
I don't think
They
it's.
didn't
that-
have to have it be the planets in Earth's solar system.
No, they
though.
didn't.
They didn't.
No, they didn't.
And
It was just a
That
cool
was a
animation.
flaw because now it's placed on Earth.
Well,
that's not what that means.
That's not what it
It's
means.
totally what it means.
No, it's not.
The
exactly what it means.
my input on this, my
My
argument against you is the same with the Predator movies. And I know you don't believe this either,
love
but the Predator,
movies.
you can see him because we're meant to see him, not the
The
people in
audience.
the movie. The audience
Can't
is meant to
truly
see
be
him.
invisible, especially
It's
by
a fucking-
scientific standards.
it's a sci-fi
He's going to
movie.
be a blur. You are going to see it. It's
Yeah.
like if like things are like really hot in the distance and you like blur it and you can see that.
Like that Hispanic
It's-
chick that lives over in 149.
yes, exactly like
Yes.
that.
The purpose of Predator's outlying being visible is for us. The purpose
It's
for them
partially
showing
for us.
our solar system getting destroyed is to give scale to this attack. That's
They
it.
could have done that
Although
just as easily with another set
It
of
wouldn't
planets.
have felt the same.
And they could have given a different animation, but the animation was just cool and it looked powerful, and that's why they went with
And it wouldn't have meant the same because it wouldn't have been the
If it
solar
was Earth,
system we know.
it would have been shaped like Earth.
It was.
It wasn't.
It was.
It looked like Earth.
It was Earth,
But-
and they labeled it Earth. They
No,
gave them
no. I'm
names.
talking
If
about
they
the.
didn't
I'm
even
talking
give
about
them
Final
names,
Fantasy
that would have been
VII's
fine.
planet,
Gaia.
Gaia.
It does kind of mean Earth though.
It does
Although
mean
Earth means whatever. It
The
doesn't matter.
ground, or
Yeah.
life.
Earth is dirt.
many
essentially.
things.
So I do see what you're saying.
that's not proof that it's
But
on
no,
Earth.
I don't think it
It's
means
not
it's on
solid
Earth.
proof, but it's still like
That's like one thing going that direction, and then everything else is going the other direction as far as against Earth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like against proof that that's the reason it's Earth. It's on Earth. Because no, Final Fantasy VII does not take place on Earth.
No, I don't.
That's
think it does
just an
either.
interesting, cool animation. I thought it was cool, but I didn't think, it means it's on our solar
oh,
system.
it's cool, but
'Cause
it does
a
take
hole
place
goes through
in our
Jupiter.
souls.
Well,
and yet it doesn't destroy the planet completely because they all have one life.
well,
somehow.
the sweet part is that it absorbs the sun. So if it was
Yeah,
placed on Earth, it would have destroyed us.
right.
My
There's-
favorite- my
the
favorite
game would have
part-
just ended.
My favorite
As
part
soon
is
as
that
he
it
hit-
pulls a Yui. Like it seriously like goes through all the planets. It hits like Mars, goes around Earth, goes through the sun, and then comes back to hit Earth,
comes
and then
back
doesn't explode it
with
or
the
anything.
sun.
Yeah, with the sun. So it's like, what the hell?
See, so it can't be on Earth, or else it would have been destroyed.
It's just a cool animation. You're bugged about it.
yeah.
I am bugged about it
I
because
thought
it
it
makes
was
no
cool.
sense.
I thought it was
They
cool.
had like
I thought it was cool, but I didn't get to see it this time because I killed Sephiroth too quickly.
What's funny
if they had
is
just like not labeled their planets, I wouldn't be as pissed.
I don't know. I bet you still would because they still look just like ours.
Yeah, right. It's
Well,
our solar system.
but the other planets could look similar. But they labeled them.
They
That's
could.
the thing. They labeled them. They didn't have to because they could have just shown planets being destroyed, and that would have given us the same sense of scale. But they labeled them, and so it's like
I agree. It could have been a mistake. I still thought it was cool, and it didn't really
it
add
even
to the
said
add or
the
subtract to the story. to me.
sun. Like we need to know what the sun is.
That's true. Joe?
On the story?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about a little place called Midgar.
Oh,
which,
yeah?
I felt was a section that was way too long to go through.
Definitely.
How long did it take to
Hated
get through it?
This time going through 7 story was actually kind of a pain, mostly because I had played 7 recently. I'd say
Yeah, the two
within
guys
the
played
last
it.
year,
Yeah.
I've played Final Fantasy
They
7.
played it about a year ago for a contest.
And so going through playing Final Fantasy 7 through this time was kind of like, okay, I need to just finish this because I wasn't really experiencing the game like I had on previous playthroughs. I mean, the first time was years back, and so when I played the speedrun version, I played through the story and I of course was interested in what was going on. This time I was kind of like, especially the first disc. I feel is just kind of a grind to get through. And here's what I put it up. What I realized was interesting on a 3rd time playthrough of the game, and many people have played this game more times than that.
Oh, yeah.
The Shinra stuff is boring.
I really didn't like the Shinra building at all.
Except for Hojo. Whenever Hojo showed up, it got interesting.
It's
and
true.
then the Sephiroth stuff was interesting. So whenever there was a big block of Shinra stuff, which was important to Barrett and important to the people of Midgar, and then, important to the planet because they're doing messed up stuff with it, whenever that stuff was kind of in the foreground as far as, what they were going against, I felt like the story was kind of lagging because I knew already, because I played the game before, that the main threat is Sephiroth.
Yeah, they really didn't need to keep like a Shinra around. They could have had it like just stop right after President Shinra got killed. They didn't even need to introduce like his son or anything, and could have just like made it Hojo and Sephiroth being like the main thing.
Right. And so because Shinra was what was driving the first disc for the most part, the first disc was a grind for me to get through, and that's why it took me a while to get through the game, because I was in the first disc and I was like, please God, make this stop. But whenever Sephiroth showed up, it got really interesting, and it's because the story got darker. And
Yeah, it got a lot
when it
darker.
got dark, and when you were going into Cloud's psychotic mind and all those kind of sections dealing with that, including him squeaking on the chair, which I thought was a very cool part.
It was
Still
a cool
do.
part. Just the noise.
I felt like that's when Final Fantasy VII story was the strongest. Now, when I played it the first time and the second time, Shinra stuff was still interesting. Okay. So this is only a 3rd time through kind of a deal where I'm kind of like a little bit negative towards that 1/3 of the story of Final Fantasy VII. The important stuff about Cloud's past, and then of course what Sephiroth's doing, that still is really strong. And Aerith's death, after Aerith's death, the game is, I think, almost perfect as far as storytelling is concerned. Yeah. I was really engrossed after that point.
After the first dicks.
After the first dicks go in.
Yeah, it's really easy to take the rest of the story.
Right. Well, also part of the importance of the
Shinra. Fell down on my
Shinra,
chair. Sorry.
the importance of the Shinra section is it kind of shows the theme of raping the planet, essentially, which
right. The green message of the game.
The green message of the game. And Sephiroth does kind of feed on what Shinra has done. I mean, he sees Mako. He knows that Mako created him, and he realizes
it's Shinra that created Sephiroth.
Right. As he is.
Well, Hojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Shinra? Yeah.
I wonder if it was artificial insemination.
It is what I was asking up to the end.
It was.
Yeah, it had to have been. So, and because of that, because of the connection between, Shinra destroying the planet and all the energy that and the things they could create with the energy from the planet, that kind of motivated Sephiroth to be like, you know what, I'm going to destroy this place and I'm going to suck all the energy up. So it was kind of important, but I do feel it with you. I like the Shinra parts. I was like, it's way less interesting than Sephiroth. Because, I know only a few people are going to die and they're just going to be dicks, and it's going to be all these politics amongst these freaking fat Shinra employees, and it just, and the Turk music did start to bug me after a little while. And the Turk fights. I'm like, why am I fighting these guys?
Feel.
Why am I fighting these guys? There's a fucking monster out there that's gonna destroy the planet, and there's Godzillas everywhere, and there's these fucking Turks in the subway, and I'm like, no, like, why? Join me.
So you're agreeing with me a little bit?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they're important.
Do you
but
feel like this is just a multiple playthrough kind of problem, though?
probably? I wouldn't even consider it a problem.
Because the first time I played the game, I was into it. Very much into it. Now, the second time, I was getting sick of Midgar, because it's easy to get sick of Midgar, because it's a grind for the first...
Midgar is like a large part.
I mean,
maybe
it only took us 2 hours, but it feels longer, because the first time you play the game, it takes
It took me like 8 hours.
It takes you a long time.
Yeah,
the first time you play through the game to get through Midgar, unless, of course, you're following a guide, by which case you will probably get through fast. But this time around, yeah, it only took us a couple hours. I still feel like that part's a grind.
It's kind of a chore, yeah. I don't know if I'd say it's a grind.
It may be just like there's too many cutscenes, and
there's too many little weird things that you have to do. Also, like putting together the model and then pressing the damn buttons at the same time.
The puzzle of Midgar is kind of annoying.
Yeah, like it's not a fun puzzle aspect, really. It's just a...
And then there's a long-ass staircase. But the staircase is faster than fighting your way to the top.
You know what? This time, I could not do that part. Like, I would get past the first and the second dudes with everyone but the last person, and then I'd get busted. So I ended up doing it the friggin' fighting way anyway. I'd climb the stairs, fuck up, kill everyone in the damn building, and then I went up the elevator, and I was like, that was ridiculous. I just could not do
what you're talking about.
Well, you know that when you sneak up the stairs and you have to like motion your teammates to run across.
Oh, those aren't stairs.
Walking.
Those are
that's
like
not what he's talking about. He's talking about going through like the front door.
No, when you go through the front door in Midgar, you have to go through a big whole sequence. Or you can go to the side, and there's the longest staircase in all of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it takes like 3 minutes just to get up that thing.
It's bigger than the Phoenix Tower, I swear to God.
Right, and then after you get there,
it
you
might
have
not
to...
be bigger than the Phoenix Tower, but it feels like it. And then you just have to go up, and then you go in, and then you start the puzzles.
Yeah, and then you motion everyone past the guards. And
right, I did not get caught once. You saw me do that part, didn't you?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it this time.
I couldn't do it either.
I've always been able to do that part, but this time
you know
I
what
was
part
just...
I couldn't do? It was the stupid thing where you have to all press the button at the same time at the beginning of the game.
That.
It's like, ah!
I hate that. It's super annoying.
What about the part where you have to jump across to the little thing in the...
Oh, the cable?
The cable, yeah.
I did it on my first try this time.
I did too.
It
was
took me
awesome.
That took me like a dozen times.
It normally takes me forever, and I was like, right there.
when you're going up to the Shinra building for the first time.
Yeah, when you're climbing the rope.
You got to tell the listeners that. Huh?
They know what I'm talking. It's the wall market scene.
Well, if they've played it before, then they would know.
So yeah, that was... There's a lot of that in this game. That's a big part of the gameplay. The little kind of action sequences where
the little mini puzzles and mini games. I hate them so much.
I like them a lot. They break up the game, and they're a nice break.
It does break up.
I completely disagree with you.
It does break up the monotony.
I hate it.
I love the snowboarding, even though I suck at it, and I hit everything on the way down.
Dude, I did too. That part took 5 minutes.
I love
5 minutes of me just slamming into fucking trees and snowmen, and I'm like,
I love the little chocobo race. I fucking love the G-bike part.
That was pretty fun.
I love those little mini games that you have to play that are part of the story, but like you kind of go, here, take a little break from the story. It's awesome and it's fun. It's not like the Blitzball game in Final Fantasy X that made me want to pull my hair out. It's awesome. It was a lot more fun.
Slightly better than that.
It's a lot more fun, especially the G-bike. The G-bike was just sweet.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
The first time I played the game, that G-bike part was like, it came out of nowhere, and I was like, yes! Yeah. I hope there's more of this.
And then there
was kind of.
Through a minigame and the gold saucer. Anyway.
Right, which I didn't spend that much time in. Of course, twice you did, and we'll get to that when we get to gameplay.
Right.
There's a couple other things I want to discuss. What did you guys think of, like... You guys already knew, and I had this spoiled for me about Eris's death before it happened. Spoiler alert. Sorry, you're all screwed. Anybody who hasn't played this game before. Your first time going through the game, did you know about Eris's death?
I did.
Twice?
I don't think I did, actually.
Okay, I did.
I think Caleb told me before I played it that Eris dies.
I knew because I remember I was a fan of all the other Final Fantasy games, and that 7 wasn't the one I could get a hold of. Except by emulation, but the emulation wouldn't work on the computer I was on. And, which we don't support emulation on this podcast. But, I knew about Eris's death because Advent Children spoiled it for me. Which was...
You watched Advent Children
I
before
don't
you
know.
got through the first disc?
I did.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Why
would you seek that out?
It like just come out and I played it and I watched Advent Children on like YouTube.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was like ripped on YouTube, and so I watched it.
You thief!
I own the fucking movie.
I pre-ordered it
Wow.
before it even came out.
I bought the movie after watching it on YouTube.
Did you wait? You pre-ordered Advent Children?
Yeah.
You hadn't even gotten past the first disc either.
Lies.
Dude, not lies. It took you years
Okay,
to play
all
that
right.
game.
Let's talk about a certain part of the past, not that.
Okay.
So Schweiss, can you go back into your memory and remember how it felt to see Eris die suddenly, like that?
Well,
A shocking death.
I didn't cry, if that's what you're looking for.
No, I didn't cry either.
I cried at the end of The Iron Giant, but I did not cry when Aerith died.
Dude, I cried all the way through Schindler's List, but I did not die. I did not cry when Eris died.
And the reason why...
I cried during Saving Private Ryan, but I did not cry.
Did you cry during Saving Private Ryan?
Of course, dude.
Why?
Dude, let me
Man.
explain. Dude, there's no more touching scene that I've seen than when they're fucking talking about how he would, like, when all the soldiers are staying in the church, and then he's, like, talking about his mother coming home and that he pretended that he was asleep so that he didn't have to hear about his mother's day and that he regretted it. I'm just choking up thinking about it right now.
Okay, so
Going back on topic.
what were we even talking about?
We were talking about Saving Private Ryan.
We were talking about your feelings.
Your feelings on Eris'
oh,
death.
I was-
Like,
yeah.
did you cry?
I
Like,
was
that's
mostly,
not really that important.
mostly I was surprised. I did not expect it. I was like,
Right.
this chick she didn't expect it really either,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she really felt like it was matter either way, but the whole story, it was
I
like,
kinda
oh,
felt
we're
like
gonna...
Aerith knew.
At some point, I don't think she knew she was gonna die then, though, that early in the story.
I don't know. The way she was acting.
She kind of, I think she had some kind of premonitional thoughts about maybe she's not
Yeah.
going to make it, but she was still,
like when
trying
Cloud
to do
was
what she
like
was doing.
attempting to kill her with like Sephiroth like mind controlling him, she kind of had like a peaceful look on her face, like she knew it was coming.
well, she
I
had
think she,
whatever
like,
look
she
she
had,
had
like-
on her face.
Well,
because
she
of
was
the
also like
character model.
praying, and she knew Cloud was there, and she like knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So she like knew it was coming.
I knew, yeah, she did, but I kind of feel like she was cut off a little early, and I was like, whoa, really? Damn.
Well, the first disc is the longest part, so it's
True.
like halfway through. So
Although
that is the midpoint.
there
of the
is the whole theory of Cloud being the killer of Aerith.
game. I hate that theory. It's so stupid.
It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Let me explain him going into the. And first of all, she died. She died when she got a sword cut through her.
Yeah.
Not because of those organs, but she must have bled out, and we just don't see the animation because it's a teen-rated game,
And it's
that
97.
would be horrible to like see this love interest die, but also be extremely bloody. For it's just
That would
kinda-
be a little
it's-
messed up.
It's an aesthetic thing. It's not really that important, but him putting her in the water and then him not being in the water, I think it's more of a. I mean, it could have been a mistake in animation, which is probably what it started out as because, the water's like 50 feet deep. At least it seems that way. But it's really her entering the live stream. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily her entering that water that they were actually in.
yeah,
Do you
Well,
get what I'm saying?
yeah, she was totally entering
It's
the live stream.
more of a. It's not a physical presence that we're seeing.
It's a spiritual one.
Sure, it's a spiritual one. She's entering into the live stream. She's going into,
Right, the
when
pond-
she's sinking down.
The little lake thing is only like 3 feet deep.
Now that we bring up the live stream, does it bug anybody else that like Sephiroth was essentially like sucking people's souls to become like even more powerful, and then like using souls as an energy source?
It's the live stream. It's not necessarily so.
But that's where they go when
Right,
they die.
people's-
And in Advent Children,
people's
she like
energy
comes
and their
back to talk to
memories and their
Cloud, so
feelings
it's
are-
like
they're all in the live stream. It's a very.
it's like the Force, man.
It's like Avatar.
Oh, it's like the Force.
Yeah, it's. I guess it is like the Force, but it's also like their network of trees in Avatar.
Yeah. It is similar to that.
Yeah,
their
I
entire
didn't have a problem
beings.
with that though. It's just kind of a very spiritual
Well-
aspect of the game that you just kind of accept.
Well, like, it's kind of weird.
I
though,
mean, I
'cause,
had a
like,
problem with Sephiroth doing that. Now that you're saying that that's what he was doing, I mean, I
Well,
didn't
like-
really quite get what he was
Well, like-
going for as far as how he's getting his power. But
It
Go
didn't
ahead.
really really connect with me until like after I beat the game, and then it was like, oh wait, he was basically like sucking everyone's souls into himself to become more powerful. And so people, like, when they're using materia, which is solidified Mako or life energy, they're like putting other people's souls inside them to do magic.
Well, that's the whole point
That's
of the
the idea,
summons.
yeah.
It's like weird.
The summons are, essentially.
it's kind of the same concept as the Adolians in Final Fantasy VI.
yeah.
Am I correct on that?
Yeah, it's
Or they solidify, they become something that you can
something that we can use as humans, and
use
Don't they, like,
somehow.
I don't know. I thought it was like a
Metaphysically-
spiritual bond thing in 6.
no, they just die.
Instead of just,
Well, they accept you to use them, but they have to kill themselves to do so. It's really weird. In 6, it's kind of dark. Like, they have to die first, but then they're alive when you summon them, and then they disappear again.
yeah, it's weird.
It's odd. But yeah, it's very similar to that. I felt a lot of that in 6 when I played 6. I was like, this is really similar to the materia system in a lot of ways, where they turn into this crystal or round object, and I use them in battle.
But when
I
you
just
think
rub it a
about
little
it,
bit,
it,
like
They
uh,
explain what the materia
well-
is at the beginning of the game.
well, yeah,
so-
but when you think about it, like in the game, in the story, the Shinra people know that they are like draining the life force of the planet, and so they know that they're like using
I
people's
think-
souls.
I don't think so. I think the Shinra people are using Mako like oil, I guess, and that the other people that believe that it is the live stream, and that we see that what the live stream
Well,
is.
they still know what they believe, and they've experimented
they
with it.
exploit
They
it.
have an idea at
they
least.
exploit. Right.
So they should kind of
So
know
do
that
you
what they're
think-
doing is kind
do
of
you think-
fucked up.
Do you think James Cameron played Final Fantasy VII?
You know, he might have.
There is plenty of unobtainium within the live stream.
Yeah.
Okay. I was okay with that. No, I just think the story's great. Another thing I wanted to bring up, the love stories in the game, because I feel like there's one that is cut short, but I actually think there's a more mature love story going on further into the game.
With Cloud and Tifa.
With Cloud, I mean, sure, Cloud sees Aerith, and obviously we as the gamer are attracted through Cloud to Aerith in the way that she is. And of course, you can choose to treat Aerith in different ways via a couple different text boxes through the game.
Oh yeah.
Correct. And Aerith is obviously thinks Cloud is cute. I think we kind of put the love story on them more than there actually is a love story in the game.
I think this love story comes from like Cloud's memories of Zack and everything, because like she did say that she had a boyfriend, and then Zack was her boyfriend,
Right.
and he has his memories, and so that fondness, that love that he has,
So
probably
You
is
think some of
through
that
Zack's
is
memory, yeah.
from that, but some of it is from Cloud's own experience.
Well, it probably is, yeah.
Well,
but
it
then,
has to be. He didn't like absorb.
Right, and then
Zack's
of
well,
course-
yeah, that's true. But still, it's
then of
like
course they have the one date, and then she dies.
True.
So it's kind
Well,
of
you
it's
don't
sad
even-
that the love is cut short, but it's not like they have this big epic romance and then she dies.
yeah, but the date isn't really. They don't have to go on the date. You
True.
can go on the date with like either
I went on the
Tifa
date
or
with
Yuffie or even Barrett, which is really weird.
The Barrett one's sweet, but yeah, I know what you mean. I think the love story between Tifa and Cloud, I think it's deeper.
Yeah, it's deeper, and I think it's a lot stronger, and it's better.
It is. It's less weird. It's like not instant. Like,
I think
oh,
Cloud
hey.
probably near the end is a little bit, he feels for Aerith, but she's dead, and I think he consoles himself within his whatever. The only friend he has in the world, honestly, is Tifa, and I think he consoles himself within her, and she, of course, is I think she falls for him somewhere in the middle of the game.
I think she's always kind of felt for him, but she
Yeah.
like really,
Kind of, but there's
really went for it during
there's
the middle of the game.
flashback where they look through their childhood a little bit in his subconscious, and I
Yeah.
felt like Cloud was interested in Tifa, but Tifa rolled with another group,
Well, yeah, but
and
then
so I think there's something more with Cloud on. I don't know. It's just interesting.
like when they talk about when they go into his memories, like Tifa was also saying that she kind of remembered things differently, and she kind of had romanticized like her memories with Cloud,
even though she wasn't really
even though
that
she wasn't,
big of
yeah,
a part
even
of
though
their
she
childhood
they
together.
weren't that close, but she had kind of thought they were.
Right, and Tifa is kind of almost like she takes care of Cloud,
Yeah.
in a way, and I thought that was.
But she knows that like something's weird with him though,
I think,
and I think that's why she's trying to like
this playthrough for me. You know, the other two playthroughs, I kind of had this idea because of Advent Children
Yeah.
and shit people say on the internet that Eris was like the true love of Cloud. I think this playthrough of the game, I'm like, I think the Tifa part may be stronger.
It is, but then there's also like that weird part at the very end of the game, like during the cutscene and stuff, where like he's about to fall back into the Mako thing.
No, I know the
and
hand
then
that
like
comes
she pulls him back up, and then he's like, we can like go see her or something like that. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
Why
Tifa
would you-
says we can see her.
No, Cloud says like, I think we can go. We can.
Was it Cloud?
Yeah, Cloud says something about that, and then she's like, yeah, let's go. She says that after he's like, we can go see her. We can like talk to her or something.
Right, but I think that part is supposed to solidify the love between Tifa and Cloud more so because
but
it's actually
it's kind of
Tifa's
weird
hand.
that he want. Well, it is.
It
yeah,
is
but
Tifa's hand.
He
yeah.
imagines it as Eris's or Aerith's
At least
hand.
we think that's how it is, because it's
and
just
then,
a hand.
And then
Yeah,
it's
but-
Tifa.
yeah,
So,
well, I
Tifa-
know that,
Tifa's
but then
already
he's
pulled
still
him out
like-
of the live stream earlier in the game.
I
yeah,
think
but then
that's-
he was still like, yeah, we can go see her, and it's like, what? Why would you even care?
Maybe
like,
it's a friend related. They knew each other. There was
I know,
there was
but it's
still
like-
there was still a bond there, whether or
Well,
not it was a romantic one.
I understand that, but it's like a weird thing to say. Like she had just saved your
Tifa-
life, and like I want to go see Aerith.
I think Tifa understands Cloud's feelings about that, but Cloud and Tifa did bang. Right
And I-
before
It's
the
true, they
COVID.
totally did. And then she's like super embarrassed about it when she finds out everybody was still on the airship.
yeah, that's an awesome part. But I feel like the part where he thinks it's Aerith's hand and it's Tifa's solidifies within Cloud's mind also that it's got to be Tifa. Not
Yeah,
only
that his
because
feelings
she's
are
dead.
more for Tifa than for
Yeah.
Ares.
I feel like that's
Well,
a
it's
strong
not like they
scene.
can be for Ares. At this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he
they
does
still could be.
now through
but
Advent
yeah.
Children. He feels guilty about the Aerith's death, and that he feels like
Yeah,
it's his
that's-
fault, which it kind of. But no. As far as the stronger love story, I think there's more of one between Tifa and Cloud. I think it's more interesting to me this time through.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's something kind of going on there. Now in Advent Children, they kind of like say fuck it, and just Tifa is concerned about Cloud, and Cloud is just being emo and running around wherever he's going. We'll review Advent Children later, but no, I really enjoyed that part of the game. I feel like
Yeah, it
I
was,
feel
it
like
was solid.
that was really strong. And then of course the Vincent stuff we already talked about. I felt like that was another thing that I got to experience and that I very much enjoyed story wise.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything else to say about the story for now?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I'm okay.
All right, Schweiss, where are we going to next?
Well, how did you guys feel about the gameplay, Caleb?
I really like the gameplay. I enjoy the materia system a lot. I like the versatility of it because you can like basically make any character a mage through just adding a shit ton of materia on them.
Okay.
Because it increases their magic power and like increases their MP, but then makes them like softer as far as like
You like squishy?
HP. Yeah, like squishy, but then they can't do as much physical damage.
Are we talking
Which-
pudgy?
Either one, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
I feel like they just get fat, especially Barrett. He seems a little chubby.
Does the materia, does like magic materia bloat them?
Dude, you know what? It's
Probably.
like physical something. So they're like putting it in them or on their weapons or something. So maybe.
Well, they only put it inside them in Advent Children.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they put
which
it in
is-
their weapons. And
Their weapons and armor
But
slots.
then again, with Barrett, his weapon is part of
Yeah,
him.
why do they put the materia in their arm in Advent Children? That doesn't make any sense.
I
They're
don't know.
hardcore.
I don't
they don't
even-
need armor.
I don't even know how they do that. then?
Because it is. It's the armor or like a shield thing, and then it's
And then their
it's
weapon.
the weapon.
It's
Yeah.
a slot, yeah, like the Buster Sword has 2 little slots
So like
on the design.
the materia power is transferred into the weapon or the armor that they're using,
yeah.
not necessarily into themselves.
And that gives them the power to use it, not necessarily through
At least
their
that's
weapon.
how it seems when you're playing 7,
Yeah.
which is of course the 7.
Right, but then they, Cloud throws the sword behind him, uses his hands to cast lightning, so it's like, it's in his sword, but he's not using his sword to cast it, so I guess absorbing it into your flesh might as well be the way to go.
Unless he like puts
That's
it.
just how like they are able to
To justify it.
Yeah, to show it is by putting it in the weapon.
Well, maybe
Yes.
it has to like touch his skin, and then there's like the current going through him. You know.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah,
I
it
don't
could
know.
be.
I don't know how bullshit can we think about this?
we could probably spend a while.
It's a
thinking
metagame
about it.
concept. There's materia, they help you.
So you really liked the materia system.
I do. I really like the like a lot of the abilities it gives you, like the ×4 cut. It's a really awesome.
It is.
one. I also liked how there was like different types of materia, like the individual ones, like the purple ones that just like do whatever, like the counter one that allows you to like react to an attack or to like cover for other people.
Mhm.
And then there was the command ones where you could just use steel or the double cut, and then like the slash all ability, or how they have like the pairing materias that like you can equip with other materias like the all or the add elemental or whatever.
The added effect.
Yeah, the added
whatnot.
effect. Yeah,
Counter and double cut together.
yeah, it's pretty
Always.
awesome.
They're really good, yeah.
That's how you kill Hojo.
Yeah.
Counter and double cut, because when he hits you, you will counter every single time with double cut.
Yep.
Oh, it's the only way. It's the only way I could find to kill that guy.
I just destroyed him.
Yeah, me
So
too,
you like
but-
the materia system?
I do. I really enjoy it.
Schweiss?
Well, I think the materia system thus far has been the most solid system. Now, I did really enjoy the job system in 5, like a lot. That was a lot of fun. But I do enjoy the versatility of the materia system as well. I mean, in most playthroughs that I've played 7, the other couple times, maybe 3 times that I've gone through most of the game, I didn't really pay much attention to materia. Like, I used it, obviously, but I had a bunch of materia on a bunch of different characters. And this time, I really strategized with it a lot better. I said, well,
Strategizzle.
I was like, I use this guy a lot. Like, by end game, I always have Sid, Tifa, and Cloud. Cloud because he's the main character, Tifa because she's my second favorite, and Sid because he has the other freaking
I thought
triple
you loved
growth.
Barrett.
I do love Barrett. Barrett's in there like almost all the time until I need to grow my goddamn materia, and he doesn't have a fucking triple growth.
Well, neither does
So I
Tifa.
use Sid. Tifa's too good to leave. Her damage is sick.
Her damage is...
Her damage is insane. Dude,
Yeah, I
when
know,
she's
but
low
still.
health and you use Death Blow, holy fuck. It's insane. And if I'm covering with Cloud, she can fucking stay low health and still do a shitload of damage. So it's always Cloud, Tifa, and Sid. And Sid because he's got that triple growth.
Triple growth.
Triple growth.
Man, you gotta get that triple growth.
Yeah, the triple growth, like, scimitar weapon or whatever.
Scimitar.
Scimitar, you dumb shit.
Whatever. Scimitar.
Scimitar.
It sounds sweeter. But no, the scimitar
does.
weapon.
Doesn't... Caleb, you make up a lot of pronunciations for words that you can't figure out
It's a
what they
Caleb
are.
thing. We both do that.
You both
shit.
do that?
Yeah.
No,
Wait, what
I
was...
don't.
Oh, shit.
I just say
Yes,
things
you do.
wrong.
I'm just trying to think
That's
of
what I
things.
just did. I said
Yeah,
it
but
wrong.
you like.
I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't think of one right now.
We'll think of it, and it'll be
Alright.
awesome.
Yeah.
Scimitar.
If I have, it's not as much because
It is
I can
utter
think of like
chaos out here.
I can think of yeah. I can think of at least 3 that Caleb's done.
So, yeah, that's for some reason. Well, not for some reason. For the growth is the reason why I have him at the end. And
I just wish that they had like made some of the materia more available, like the double cut and the
We all
slash
wish
all.
that.
Well, yeah, but then you get those like near the end of the game where it's like, you gotta like build to get more of them to make them super useful.
right, but
I mean, they're awesome like on one guy anyway, but it's like,
I don't
I
know.
wish you would have had them like near the beginning, just made them more like to build it to the next level could have just been more AP. You know what I
Right.
mean?
But
They could have just done that, like, and they can't really buy any of the command materials.
yeah, you have to
You
find
gotta
them.
you gotta find each and every one of them. So it's like, it's kind
I
of.
was fine with that because you can play the game without looking for that stuff.
Well, you
Believe me, on my
can.
first playthrough, I didn't even understand the materia system on my first playthrough very much. Caleb, what's going on with your computer?
So yeah, same with me.
Did you wait too long to do this?
The reason why I said earlier that I used to just throw a bunch of materia on a bunch of different people is because I also didn't understand it. I saw that it reduced my HP and my damage, but I never really cared. So I just kind of threw, okay, I'll have a cure spell on Cloud. I'll have a lightning attack on this one. I'll have a bunch of different magic spread out. And this time I got a lot more, I used my tactics a little better, tactics that I might need for this playthrough, and I basically made Cloud pure command materia. He was like all yellow, maybe purples, nothing that damaged his HP or attack damage, and he was pretty sick.
Yeah,
Same with
I did a
Tifa.
similar thing. I gave my Cloud basically just yellow and purple materia, and then gave him 2 spells. I gave him life and time magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
mostly
you,
to
Joe?
Beef my guys and keep them alive.
What did I use on Cloud?
Yeah, did you use the materia a little tactically?
Or did
this
you make
time?
it? Did you make him a mage? Did you set him up as a tank? Pure damage?
Cloud was just damage mostly. I mean, I put the HP plus materia, the one that I had, on Cloud, and so he was kind of like the guy that did all the damage while
Also staying
Tifa
alive.
actually was like the healer, and then Vincent would go off and do his limit break and would like do some massive damage. So I really had Tifa in a mage role this time, and not so much in the roles that I've had her in the past.
Okay.
Now, as I was saying before, I didn't even use the materia system my first playthrough. Like, I'd gotten the spells and I didn't realize, like, I saw that they were messing with my stats, but I didn't really care. And I was able to make it through the game just fine without exploiting the materia system. The materia system really just makes the game easier.
Yeah, it does.
It's true.
It's not something that you need to master, simply because I was able to get through the first time playing the game just fine.
Not knowing shit. I
And
didn't know very much
this
either.
time around, I understood the materia system a lot better. Like, I had to learn how to use it during my speed run because there were some specific things I had to do in order, to beat that game relatively quickly, at least quicker than Caleb here. And so I understood what they did to my stats, and like the fact that I needed 4 times cut or whatever. And how that would affect, the person that had to use 4 times cut had to, of course, not have so much magic on him,
Yeah.
so that their strength stats wouldn't go down. And so this time around, the game was extremely easy because I knew what I had to do. And I think most gamers would figure it out. It's just that I'm an idiot. And the first time I played through the game, I was just kind of like, oh, I need cure on everybody. So I gave
Yeah, that was the same.
I gave
way.
everyone restore.
But we got through it, so
Right.
it's not like a must.
I mean, besides the materia system, were there any bosses that you had trouble on? Caleb? Craig?
I didn't really have any trouble on any bosses. Not really, anyway. Ultima weapon was like super easy to destroy. Just used 1 meteor rain and he was gone. So, I just...
On the beach when he attacked you the first time.
Well, that one was a harder fight, but
Okay,
no,
I
I'm
was like,
talking about
bullshit. You didn't
the.
do 20 or 40,000 damage with me.
But then again, my guys were way ahead of your guys in level when
Yeah.
you were fighting
That's true.
at those parts. But no, I'm talking about like the last time you fight him over Cosmo Canyon,
Okay. Yeah,
when
he
you
was
can like actually get the ultimate weapon. It was super easy, and I thought it was gonna be tough because like I thought he was gonna be like almost on par with Ruby and Emerald, and
Oh yeah.
I just shattered him, and I was like, oh,
Well, with Ultima Weapon, you just... Every time you attack him, I found this out. I was reading because I was like, where the heck does he keep going? So I read up on him. Every time you attack him, his health goes down, and it doesn't recover.
Yeah, it's just like the guy in 6.
Okay.
So, and then once you get to under 20,000 HP, that's when he will go over Cosmo Canyon and stop.
Oh, okay.
And so at 20,000 HP and you're doing, 5,000 damage at that point in the game,
I was wondering why I always had to chase him down. I was
Doesn't
getting
take
really
that much.
mad.
Right.
Yeah, he
that
just
part
goes.
was annoying, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Because I was doing the same thing the other
Well,
day.
I looked it up too because I was like, why isn't he like just stopping already? And the thing that I looked up didn't tell me like anything like that. It was just like, oh, he's gonna appear over these places, and you have to
Dude, Final Fantasy
you have to
Wiki.
navigate him around Cosmo Canyon. And I was like, well, fuck. And then I just turned on my game randomly, and he was just sitting there above Cosmo Canyon. And I was like, I've been working for this forever. And he's just fucking there.
That ultimate weapon, though, was helpful. By the end of the game,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do that much extra stuff, and we'll get to extra stuff later, but certainly getting ultimate weapon kind of made it so that I would do max damage every time if I just put 1 or 2 hero drinks on Cloud at the end.
Hero drink is awesome.
Yeah.
It was good.
Did you have any boss troubles?
The guy in the safe when you get Vincent, he was brutal.
I died
that
once
was-
to him. He was kind of a pain.
That was easy. You just gotta hit him with magic,
Well,
and
I
then
finished-
he becomes vulnerable to just physical attacks.
I
and
finished
you
the
just hit him
first
with that.
disc in under 20 hours, so
So did I.
I don't think he did.
I got 18 hours before I was off that. I finished the game at 28 hours, which was faster than you.
Only because I decided to do everything else and then go to the
Well,
end.
you also decided to spend
Okay.
2 hours on Super
All right.
Dunk.
So how did you beat that boss?
I basically just did what Caleb said. I made it to where he would hit me with magic. So I used... What did I use? I had to use physical attacks. And
Well-
then he became immune to physical attacks.
And
yeah.
then you just hit him with magic.
Yeah. I think that's how I did it. Or one of those. I made it to where he wasn't doing physical attacks to me because his physical attacks to me were fucking ridiculous. Max damage every time. So I was like, okay. I eventually just got him to the point
Yeah,
where...
if you hit him with magic at the beginning, he becomes like a magic-based dude.
Yeah, and that's
and then
when
he
you can
becomes
kill
weak
him.
to physical. Yeah.
Magic-based dude.
That one's a lot easier. That guy was rough. The Cosmo Canyon area was the Daddy Longlegs in there. Holy God!
Oh, I actually did have a problem with the boss. Now that I'm remembering. Okay, the genetic guy at Cosmo Canyon.
We read.
Okay, yes, but this was way before then because I was like way ahead of you guys.
That's right. You played it like a month
And-
before us. That's right.
I didn't know that you could kill this guy with just a Phoenix down, and I was getting I beat him in one try, but it was really annoying because I thought I was gonna
Who
die.
gave us that tactic? Do you remember?
I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
I think it might have been Womble.
Was it Womble?
I think so.
Sure, it wasn't Batman. It
I'm
always
pretty-
seems to be Batman with the tactics.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Womble.
All right, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I had put a Fury ring on Cloud, and so he was constantly berserk, and I couldn't do anything with him. He was just constantly attacking. And the genetic guy has these floating fire things around him that were absorbing Cloud's attacks because I couldn't choose where he was attacking either. So it was really difficult. And so I had to keep Red 13 alive so that he could just keep healing Cloud and keep healing himself. Otherwise I would have get fucked. Tifa was just dead. There's no way I could
Just leave
revive
her.
her because I couldn't do anything with Red.
He said, "Never leave a man behind. She's not a man. Let's go."
That boss fight took me forever.
Yeah, that
Because
one.
I didn't understand that I could just Phoenix down,
Well,
and I
it's-
forgot to take the Fury Ring off him.
It's not quite that easy though. I had to use 4 Phoenix Downs before. I died.
Even if it misses, you could still just destroy him.
Well, not really,
I
because
think it
Tifa
probably
was
did. I
almost
think it took me
dead.
3 or 4.
Tifa was almost dead, and the other 2 were dead. So it's not just a throw a Phoenix down.
None
on
of my
the
guys
fucker.
died. I had a different experience.
He would not die to that goddamn Phoenix down. He kept just destroying the other 2, and I'm like, finally throw one, and then he just.
That is such a satisfying noise.
It
it
is.
is, yeah.
Super slow, and you watch him just shake and disappear.
I love that in the older ones where they just disintegrate.
Yeah, so that was a little difficult, and Ultima Weapon this time, for me, the fight on the beach was hard.
Oh,
Yeah, when you
diamond
get-
weapon.
Oh, Diamond Weapon was easy.
Diamond
Was that
weapon on
diamond
the
weapon?
beach.
No, okay. There's the Diamond Weapon. You fight right before he goes to Midgar.
He tries to go to Midgar, and you fight
then
him on the beach.
Ultima Weapon, you also kind of fight on a beach when he like goes to the town where
Was it in
Cloud
Midil
is.
or outside of Midgar? On the beach. In which you save, and then you wait for him to walk
Ultima
slowly
Weapon
to
is the
one.
black one,
So
Caleb.
it's Diamond Weapon.
Oh, Diamond Weapon. Whatever. Diamond
Ultimate
Weapon.
Weapon's the one you chase in the sky.
Is that the only time you fight him? Oh, it
No,
is.
Ultima Weapon, like you fight him when
You fight him in
get,
Midil.
like where
And then
where
later you
Cloud's
fight
still
him in the sky.
retarded.
Oh, that's right. I remember. 'Cause
yeah,
yeah, I did it. That one was fine.
dude, he's retarded in
No,
that.
he's not. He's something else. I wouldn't say retarded.
The live stream is probably cocaine. He absorbed a lot of cocaine, so he had to wait it out.
And then he had to take even more to like snap out of it.
Dude, that part in Wolf of Wall Street when they're on the Quaaludes and they're like crawling over each other, and then like there's the scene where it has Popeye the Sailor Man, and he gets some spinach and he like blows up, and at the same time Leonardo DiCaprio like gets the cocaine and he's like, nah! Oh man. Sorry, that just reminded me of that. The cocaine.
So yeah, it was Diamond Weapon that I had a kind of a tough fight with. He was brutal on that beach fight.
Oh yeah, you did have to fight him a few times.
I did, and then there was the one fight. It was that weird robot, like multi-armed robot thing when you're collecting the huge materia.
Oh yeah, down when you get the submarine.
Yeah, that guy was a fuck, man. I had
That
to do
guy
that
was
like
pretty
6
easy for me.
times. Did you have trouble on that guy too?
Which guy?
He was
zoned
the
out.
robot boss with like the 2 crane arms that you fight right before you get the submarine.
Must not have had trouble with him because I can't remember him.
Yeah, he was rough, man. But yeah, overall,
Yeah, I didn't have problems with the submarine part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't understand that submarine mini game. So I was like, what the fuck?
All I knew is that last time I played on my speed run, I had to try it like twice because it took me way too long. And so this time I knew it was just chase the one thing down as fast as you can and don't fuck around.
I didn't even like read the manual this time. So I was
Caleb,
like, fuck it.
Caleb
So I
beat
just,
him in like 5
destroyed
seconds.
myself.
yeah. I rocked the guy. I just like chased him down, shot him twice, and I was like, oh, victory. And I'm like, okay. That was way less complicated than it looked.
The boss I probably had the most trouble with was Hojo at the very end. His first 2 things were not hard to get past, but when he did
third
every
form?
status effect on the fucking planet to your guys and hit him 4 times in a row,
you
each
didn't-
giving a new status effect,
You didn't give him
that at the
ribbon
end
though.
you would have all 3 just kind of like fucked over. Like I did not have a ribbon the entire game. That is true.
Should have had a ribbon.
Yeah, right.
I
That
had
part
2.
was extremely hard. But I read that the ribbon doesn't even work on that guy, at least for some of the
it
statuses.
does.
It
Like,
doesn't work.
I don't think it stops poison, but
And
for like everything else,
Anyway,
it does.
that part was a serious pain in the butt. But I put, I put counter with double cut on Cloud, and so whenever he'd hit Cloud, he'd get double cut each time until like the very end, and then I'd have the other 2 just like doing as much support spells as they could for everybody. So that's how I finally got past him. That was the hardest boss in the game for me. It was right at the end of Disc 2. But even then, it only took me, I think, 3 tries to kill him. Which isn't bad, considering I have played Final Fantasy games where I've had a boss that I have played 20 times.
Yeah.
I didn't have to repeat any bosses this
I
time.
felt like this Final Fantasy is the easiest we've seen.
Yeah.
Like 6, I felt that way when we got to 6. But 7 is like, I don't know, how many times easier than 6 was it?
Yeah, at least a couple.
Like
It was-
75% easier than number 6. I mean, I felt the gameplay was good. I felt it was balanced, and I felt like it was for people that never played Final Fantasy before.
You think so?
It was really easy.
it did kind of feel that way.
It was really, really easy. 6 had some hard parts.
Yeah, it
7 pretty much didn't. I mean, besides the couple that we can think of. And I wasn't even going out of my way to do that much extra stuff after Disc 1 because I was like, fuck it. I'm not gonna worry about this shit. And then I just kind of went for it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that difficult. I mean, did you feel like you had any difficult moments in this game?
No, the hardest part that I had was that part with Genetic, but then I didn't have to repeat any bosses. I destroyed him quite thoroughly.
Right.
So my guys were like way over leveled.
Yeah, they were compared to mine, especially.
I'd say
Yeah.
five probably had the hardest boss out of all the 7 games that we've played now, and that 4 probably had the tough. No, 3. Fuck it, 3 is the hardest fucking Final Fantasy of all time.
Yeah.
Just because of the final area, but the moon is pretty close to 3's final
Yeah,
area.
the jump in levels,
That's
and then
true.
they start
But then
status
4
affecting
wasn't
the
hard
hell out
for
of
me
you.
after I did the trick. So
Yeah, well, yeah.
I didn't have to actually.
If you didn't have that though, you
Grind
might
through
you
that
might think
shit.
4 is still the hardest.
I don't know about that.
Up to a point, but the bosses in 4 were not the hardest. It
No,
was-
they weren't. But the jump in
5's
levels
final
and
boss
then
was sick.
Yeah.
But out of
well, you just got to guilt us.
So with 7, with it being really balanced and really kind of easy, there's a younger part of me, a more lazy gamer part of me that's like, yeah, 7 has the greatest battle system because it takes the least amount of work. I'd say though that if I were gonna pick the gameplay of out of the 7 that we played, and I'd say out of 8, because I know what's coming up next because I played 8 many times. I think 5 has probably the best gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really good.
it's really good. It's not only balanced, but it also has a lot. It took 3's system and then made it balanced and beautiful. And so
5 is really good.
5
but then
I feel like is the best.
Guiltos is far too broken.
That's true. Guiltos is broken, but at the same time, there's a million things. W item glitch the fuck out of the game.
We'll get into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. All I was doing was casting Mega Elixirs on myself as soon as I got that stupid thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even need to do that. It was just hero drinks.
I used hero,
Really, the only
I
thing-
used it to get hero drinks too.
The only way like for me to just like go through the battle arena was just to like elixir and hero drink the entire time. Like
That's
my
what I did,
counters,
too.
my counters were just fucking every enemy. Like they'd hit me,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't even like do a move before like they just got destroyed by my counter.
Yeah. I feel like the gameplay in this one was pretty good.
It was well balanced.
I did like all of the extra things too, and that kind of made up for the lack of difficulty in the normal campaign. The normal story
Was the
is-
extra stuff
The
that you
extra
did.
stuff is fucking hard.
Right, and are we getting to the extra stuff, or is that for later?
That's
for later. All right, so let's get to design, shall we? This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.